Today, guys, we're back with another video, and this is what if Naruto Uzumaki was born with Baryon mode. Part 3. Council room. Everything else from the last part actually is still going on. Council room. Itachi Uchiha. Yes, Lord Don. Yes. Yes, Lord Third. What news do you have to bring? The left side of the Uchiha compound have been playing Haku, and my side, well, no, my side of the Uchiha compound has been playing Haku. The other side, I have no information on them, but judging from what I can tell, no suspicious activity are coming from that side. Itachi said, looking towards the third Hokage. Are they ready to start the Haku yet? No. Judging from their plans, it will be around next week. I'm sorry for this task, but Itachi, you'll have to get rid of your clan. Can I spare my younger brother? No. I'm sorry, but you can't. Since the only thing that we can do is put him in the orphanage. Or he can either live on the right side of the compound, which he will be discriminated by the others because of. Alright, Lord Hokage, Itachi said. Later that night, Naruto's home. The barrier was breached, but since the person who was there had on a necklace, well, a bracelet, they could not be. Well, they were sensed, but it was like they can't go in. This wakens Naruto. Then he asks one of the seals to verify which name is carved into it. Itachi Uchiha. Him again, Naruto said, as then he went towards the living room as he cut on the light and sat down. 3 seconds later, across the room, Itachi appeared. Naruto, I need your help with something. What? Just letting you know. This is recollectant of your Anbu days. Alright, what do you want? The massacre of the Uchiha clan. Which side? Because I know that the others, both sides, don't consider each other as the same. The left. That should be easy enough, Naruto said, as then he got up and placed on his attire, his Anbu attire. Since Naruto was a seal master, at the age of 6 years old, he was basically recruited into the Anbu, and he perfected his skills and techniques, making him high Jonin level by, well, no, making him match people such as Itachi Uchiha, which was a high A rank nin, nearing to S rank. Uchiha clan. Naruto and Itachi appeared. How much do you want me to kill? Just the police force. Just the left side of the police force. Itachi said, "Alright, but you do know that your girlfriend is a part of the police force. She might be a bit of trouble since she, like you, is a grand protege. Don't worry about her. I'll take care of her myself," he said. "Alright." Then Naruto pulled out his blade, and his eyes began to glow a golden color. Then he rushed into the Uchiha compound. Well, yeah, the left side of the Uchiha compound. Let's go. Inside, oh, basically what they call it, the Uchiha police force area. Naruto got pulled out his Naruto rushed in. Then at lightning speeds, he began cutting down the police force members. "Who are you?" Uchiha said, activating his Sharingan, noticing Naruto's golden eyes. "Ah, so the leaf has finally came for us," he said. Because of the fact that among the people, the basically Naruto had made himself become renowned for his golden eyes and his one look. As Naruto stared directly into his eyes, his Baryon eyes negated the ability to basically put him under Genjutsu while stealing his life force. As the man fell down, Naruto's eyes then began to morph a bit. Within one of his eyes was the one to Moi, inside of his golden eyes. As he noticed that he could see a massive amounts he saw the world massive amounts slower. "What's going on?" Naruto said. Then he remembered all Kekkei Genkai people that he sucked the life out of. He gained that Kekkei Genkai. Of that was how he had gained the Kekkei Genkai. Complete complete lightning control Kekkei Genkai. But we're not gonna flash back to that because I don't feel like it and I'm a lazy dumbass. Basically, as he sucked out the Uchiha's life, he continued this until he had reached a girl. "Who are you?" the girl said as Naruto held his blade. "I am the Reaper," he said as he sheathed his blade, as his eyes began to turn towards their normal crystal blue. "Itachi," Naruto said, as then blood began to slowly roll from the other room. as Naruto didn't remember. He had to slaughter one of the Uchiha people because of the fact that they were like, basically like, they're like, no, I don't want to do this. You can't do this to me. And somehow using the Sharingan, he was basically negating Naruto's basically life stealing powers, which was the reason why he was pretty much one of the police force commanders, which Itachi's girlfriend is one of them. But her Sharingan, her Mangekyo Sharingan, didn't have the ability, to basically stop all other Kekkei Genkai like things. So yeah, as Naruto looked at her, she launched towards him, seeing the blood as he dodged out of way, simply waiting. Around 3 minutes later of him constantly dodging, "Who the hell are you?" she said. As then, Itachi appeared beside him. "He is my accomplice," Itachi said, looking towards his girlfriend. "Itachi?" she said, looking towards Itachi. "I'm sorry, but we have to get rid of the Uchiha clan." "And I also wanted to say I love you." As he was going in for the slice, she quickly dodged out of the way, stopping him. She was a grand protege. Itachi had just unlocked his Mangekyo Sharingan. Well, basically had unlocked his Mangekyo a couple of weeks before, and he wasn't using it. So he jumped back, activating his Mangekyo. Then he flew towards his girlfriend, getting ready to end her life. And then she looked towards Itachi. "I won't allow you to do this, Itachi," she said, as she then disappeared, using the, the ability that she had just obtained. Knowing that all of her friends were dead, she disappeared. Then Itachi felt it. A blade through his stomach. Itachi stepped back a bit. His blood began to drip. "I'm sorry, Itachi-san," she said. Then she disappeared, getting ready to use her other blade to slice off his head. Then Naruto reappeared in front of her as he looked her directly into the eyes. His golden eyes blazing. Whoa. As now he basically had the three Tomoe spinning around within his eye. It was a side effect of him taking so many Uchiha souls. These souls could also be used to heal wounds, which he would use on Itachi. As her soul began to get sucked out faster, she fell towards the ground, dead. Now all of these Uchiha, their Sharingan, Naruto said, as he created thousands upon thousands, as he created 1,000 clones. The clones spread out, plucking out all of the Sharingan, one by one. Before long, the entire left side of the Uchiha clan compound were eyeless. As Naruto then said, These eyes belong to me, he said. Basically, as Itachi just said, don't use my clan's eyes for anything bad. Then Itachi disappeared, leaving his girlfriend partially alive. She would die within the next 2 days in the hospital. What happened? One of the council members asked. Two people, one Itachi and the other, she said, about to spill the name, as then her eyes closed. As she ended her speech, she was dead, sent to the heavens up above, no coming back, dead. D-E-A-D, dead, gone, goodbye, bye-bye, ho gone, BB, bye-bye, peace. She was gone. As one, as then the shinobis, then the council slammed their hands down. Council meeting. There was told the Uchiha clan was massacred in one night by two people. The third Hokage said, he knowing who one was. He didn't know who Itachi reached out to finish off the clan. One. The one that we do know, his name is Itachi Uchiha. As then everyone's eyes opened widely. And the other, we didn't know. We don't know who he is. All we know is that his Sharingan was different from the rest. His Sharingan was golden. It was a radiant gold. Although it could be because of the night. So it must have been a shade of yellow, he said, looking towards basically the council. So two people took out a clan, which will be hard for our entire elite village to deal with. And Itachi, he fled. He fled the village. And we don't know where the other went. The third Hokage said, with that, all decisions shall be made. We skip to earlier that day. 2 nights ago. Naruto was cleaning off his blade since it was covered in the blood of Uchiha. A lot of Uchiha. It was everywhere. He feared his humanity was slipping. He had gotten so used to killing people to the point where once killing a large group of people, such as an entire clan, he didn't bat an eye. He didn't even feel guilty. Although he only used physical force against one shinobi, although he only used physical force against one of the shinobi, it was still terrible. Naruto said. As then he took off his Anbu attire. As he walked into the bath, as he walked into his closet, then on the side of the closet behind all of the basically clothes and all that good stuff. He then he then walked through the area. This this seal could only be breached if you were 100% of Naruto. You had all of his blood, and you had his skin, and his literally entire body. And it can't be cold. Plus, you have to know a certain sequence of names. Also, you have to know how to mold chakra to the same extent as him. Otherwise, it's basically like, I can get in, I can get in, I can get in, I can't get in. So he walked on further and further into the room. Then he placed his hand as he then hung up the clothes. Around him was a Anbu attire for years. For years to come. It was a lot of Anbu attire on one wall. Then on the other side were multiple blades of different styles and different colors. Some of the same brand, basically the same sword, just with different colors. Some significantly stronger than the rest. And it was just a lot of blades and weapons. Then under that were kunais for years. And under that, shuriken. He would never run out of supplies with this massive reservoir. And on the back, on the wall, directly there, it was a picture of himself with a blade in his hand, with basically a blade over his shoulder, looking forward with his golden eyes active. As he then said, as he sighed, then he left the area. Now, back to current day. Naruto was in the backyard playing with Hinata and Sasuke. As Sasuke was not affected like he was affected in the original because of the fact that he is not from that side. He's from the right side of the clan. Anyway, due to the massacre, they weren't able to do basically the beginning exams yet. Back towards the academy, Naruto walked with a new fit. Unlike the standard shinobi, it was golden, which will make him known. It was golden. His fit was basically gold. It was flashy as fuck. But his eyes are cold as fuck, you know. He gotta keep the whole entire bit cold. Brr, I'm iced out. Mommy, look at me. I'm iced out. Whoa. Like he was basically hopping off the walls icy into the classroom. Team 1, your Jonin Sensei will be Hatake Kukushi. Team 2, your Jonin instructor will be Guy, basically my guy. As Naruto then look across the room to see Lee, nothing. To Tenten, nothing. And finally, Neji Hyuga. Because of his prodigy cousin, he had decided to take the test himself. Since his cousin had already passed, he didn't want to be passed up by someone who was 1 year younger than him. So he had decided to join himself. Anyway, outside. 3 hours later, after Guy had gotten the other team, a man with white hair walked in looking towards the group. My first impression of you is I hate you all. Then he disappeared and reappeared on top of the roof. Naruto then gestured. Naruto in the squad then said under their breath, Shinpo, and disappeared and reappeared on top of the building. Kakashi was shooken. They had done the Shinpo, or the Flash Step. The Flash Step was a jutsu which was known to be very chakra consuming. That's why the alternative was made. The Flash, that's why basically the body flicker no jutsu was created as an alternative. But for because it required the trade-off for it costing less chakra was that the jutsu basically the trade-off for it requiring less chakra was the user of the jutsu to be slower than one using Shinpo or Flash Step. Anyway, since Flash Step was heavily used by the Uchiha and Shinju clan, it was dubbed an A rank. It was dubbed an S rank Kenjutsu. A rank, I didn't mean S rank. A rank Kenjutsu. Because the only thing that matched its speed was a jutsu called Flying Raijin. And even then, the Flying Thunder God. The Flying Raijin. Because I don't know which one version. The Horaishin. I'm just gonna say it. The Horaishin. The jutsu used by the fourth Hokage and perfected to even greater extents than the second Hokage was the only jutsu which possibly could match the Shinpo. And even then, the Shinpo was slightly faster. But because of Minato's, we then see after, no, to basically Akachi. Tell me about yourselves, Kakashi said, looking towards the group. You start first, sunshine, he said, pointing towards Naruto. As then, Naruto looked at him with golden eyes, as Kakashi then remembered a certain Anbu with golden eyes. without saying. Then Kakashi gestured. Then Kakashi did some sign language. Then Naruto did sign language as well. Uh, so it is him, Kakashi thought to himself, as that Anbu was renowned to be among the group of the strongest. As him himself had fought the Anbu and had lost, so he knew that this guy was strong. So, my dreams and goals, well, they're not there. They're non-existent. I have no goals, no dreams, or none of that. I only want one thing, he said, looking up towards the sky. To be recognized as great by all. To be known for my strength. To be known as a shinobi who could wipe out a nation at his mere thought. To be known as the strongest shinobi to ever live, Naruto said, looking forward. And I only want my bloodline to succeed my power. As Kakashi said, quite ambiguous. Quite what they call him? Ambitious. Ambiguous. Quite the ambiguous one you are, he said, looking towards Naruto. My ambitions are none of your. Never mind. You didn't see Sasuke Uchiha. My goal, no, not a goal, a reality, is to hunt down the traitor and kill him for killing my cousin, he said, look with his hand outstretched. No, my goal is to kill a certain someone for harming my cousin and taking his life, and taking her life, even though he was close to her. He said, as everyone knew who he was talking about, except Hinata. It was basically Itachi. In my likes, I like hanging out with my friends, he said, looking at both of his friends. That's all. No, he said, in my dislikes is the way that the Uchiha clan is treated. One day, I'll become the Hokage and fix that, he said, with a smile on his face. Now for Hinata. My goal is to marry a certain someone, she said, looking towards Naruto, as Naruto then blushed heavily. They were dating for a while. They had been dating for a while. So yeah. My other goal is to become the strongest Hyuga ever. And to be a great heiress to my clan. My likes are my friends and boyfriend. And my dislikes is Hinabi. She always steals my pudding. I can't wait to buy my bus too, Hinata said, looking towards Kakashi as his sweat dropped. Well, my goal. My likes are books and my special book, he said, pulling out a book, then he quickly put it back. I also like reading a lot. My dislikes are people who criticize me for reading my book. My goal is to get the entire series, he said, pumping his hand into the air with a smile on his face. Then Naruto's sweat dropped. Wasn't he a former Anbu? Shouldn't he act a bit less like a child? Naruto thought in his head, but he paid no mind to it. Tomorrow, meet me at training ground 7. Don't eat any lunch, otherwise you'll puke, he said.
How about breakfast? Aren't you gonna eat your breakfast?
The next day, training ground 7,
What do you wanna eat?
Naruto was sitting on a log as he was meditating. Then he was pulled into his mindscape. Once pulled in his mindscape, he saw a garden full of plants and animals running about. This was his mindscape. Since even though he was very young, he had found true peace. His mind had created what Naruto thought to be the closest to true peace. And this was the result. As animals rushed around, and in the grass, he saw a fox playing around with other foxes. It had 9 tails. It was slightly bigger than the rest. And on one of its tails, which was barely visible, was a tiny collar. Which was a collar. So I'm guessing that you're the 9 tails, Naruto said, looking towards the area. Then the 9 tails looked up. Yeah, I am, the 9 tails said, looking towards Naruto. What's your real name? And what's your game? Naruto said, looking towards the 9 tails. Nothing. I have nothing to gain. You know, for the first time, in a long time, you're the first host that I actually like being inside of. Especially when you get older, the 9 tails said, chuckling a bit. He was a pervert in his own right. Yeah, he was basically a pervert. You know, inside of you, I've never felt this much tranquility. As then, Naruto looked towards the 9 tails. You know, you're a lot smaller than I thought you'd be. And you're a lot brattier than I thought you'd be, he said, looking towards Naruto. And then Naruto then said, so, you never answered me. What's your real name? You have to earn that, he said, looking towards, the 9 tails said, looking towards Naruto. Whatever you say, Naruto said, looking towards the 9 tails. So what's up with my eyes and how I can steal people's souls? It's just an ability of our fusion. What do you mean, fusion? You know, he said. As then Naruto and him began to look at each other. Let me show you, he said, as then he walked up towards Naruto and hopped on his shoulder. Then Naruto felt power surged in his body. This was unlike it he had ever felt before. This power was greater. It was grander. It was further beyond the power of the norm. It was grand. As the power began to bulge out of his body began to look different. His eyes, now the radiant gold with Tamoi within his eyes. And he was now in full Baryon mood. Outside, Naruto began to unleash chakra, which could possibly destroy the whole entire planet if Naruto wasn't regulating it so well. As Naruto then said, "Wow, this chakra, it's incredible." "Yep, that's our fusion," he said, as then he hopped off of Naruto as he disappeared. But Naruto's eyes stayed the same. Unless if I agree to go into that form, then all you can do is just gain slight attributes of it, such as you gain the ability to steal one's life force and also give it, he said. "Give it? Oh, you didn't know," he said. As then, the Kyuubi, then a whale appeared beside the Kyuubi. This was the massive amount of souls and basically life energy that Naruto had been sucking up his entire life. His Ambu days and all of them days, including his own soul, which was basically was infinite because of the Reaper, which gave him incredible power. Because I would say that this current Naruto in Baryon mode is basically regular, like Hokage Naruto strength currently. It's just Hokage Naruto strength, which I admit y'all would think would be stronger, but I'm lowballing it, and I don't want him to be that OP. Although his power, I've already made him too OP. But yeah, Naruto smirked, looking towards the Nine Tails. "So, this is our journey," he said. Anyway, he said, pulling out a bit of life energy. Then he began to pour the life energy like water substance onto a flower in the mindscape as it began to bloom and get larger and larger. "You see," he said, as the flower was now the size of a tree. "Okay," he said, looking towards the Kyuubi. "Of course, you could suck the life energy out of this flower and return it back to its normal height, but I would suggest not," the Kyuubi said, looking towards Naruto. As Naruto looked forward, he then opened up his eyes to see Kakashi and the rest of his team in front of him. "Now that you're awake, let the test begin." And that's going to be the end of this video. Make sure that y'all like, subscribe, and do all that big ass shit.